Hey guys, welcome to today's video. It's an informational one on why I am the way that I am. I brought drinks for this. For those of you who've never heard of the Myers-Briggs personality types, they're horribly interesting. I mean, like addictingly interesting. For those of you who have not heard of the Myers-Briggs personality types, there are supposedly 16 different personality types. And if you want to take the test and find out what yours is, I will link the test below. I think it's like 60 something questions now, and it's on a scale of like highly agree, sort of agree, you know, in the middle, and then disagree, whatever. To explain the test a little bit, there is a lot of science behind it, a lot of psychology behind it. So there's 16 of them, and the way that they give you your type is by giving you 4 letters, and each letter stands for something, so it's kind of like an acronym. For instance, the easiest part is your first letter. It's either I or E, which is introverted or extroverted. Simple enough. But then it gets into some other ones. So I'm going to tell you about my type, because my type takes up less than 2% of the population, apparently. I'm a very rare type. I know this about myself. I can see this about myself when I have to interact with other people. I can tell that I'm blending in, if that makes sense. I'm blending in to the best of my abilities, and I genuinely do have fun with people and I enjoy people, but I see the world differently, I think, than a lot of people do. I was watching some videos on INTJs recently, and the comments were so good because all the comments were by other people who are INTJs. So one commenter said, being an INTJ is a real pain in the ass. To me, it's like everyone around me is living in the Matrix, and I was one of the few that took the red pill. Like, I agree with that. Someone else said, stop telling people that I have feelings. That's very much an INTJ thing. We're cold ass bitches. Like, our emotions do not control us. We do have them, but we tend to bottle them up really well and really easily. And I'll get into that. But I thought what I would do is sort of read through my profile and tell you, yeah, I relate to this, or this is how I feel about it, or maybe they didn't elaborate on it enough. Yeah, I thought it'd get you guys interested in learning your profiles. And please, if you take the test below, comment what your results are. And honestly, the best thing to do after that is not to read just the results that they send you. There's a whole other website called personalitypage.com, I believe it is. And they, in my opinion, give the best analysis of these personality types. So I am an INTJ, which is introverted, intuitive, thinking, judging. And yes, I know the N is not intuitive, but it's the second letter of intuitive, so I guess they stuck it in there. And it says, I have an introverted intuition with extroverted thinking. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's the in that I think like an extrovert, but I function as an introvert. Like I'm happy as an introvert, but I can see how extroverts work. That would be my guess, which makes sense to me. So my first little blurb is pretty much what everybody gets, obviously catered to what you are. My type on personality page is referred to as the scientist. We are also called the masterminds and the architects. So if you want to think of it in terms of inception, I would be the architect. Our primary mode of living is focused internally, which is very true, where I take things in primarily via my intuition. INTJs are very logical. There's not much that we base on feeling, except when it comes to our intuition. And I think that even that is sort of thought-based for us. It's that our intuitions very rarely lie to us in our experience, and that's the point. In our experience, we do a lot of things based on, okay, this didn't work so well the last time, not repeating that, or I witnessed someone else go through that, not repeating that. So when our intuition is right once, we're like, oh, that's it. Like, that's how it's got to be. If I have a bad gut feeling about this, I ain't doing this shit. Like, that's kind of how we work, which can be frustrating to people who function more on emotion than logic, but we are extremely logical people. My secondary mode is external, where I deal with things rationally and logically. Already stated that. I don't know what the percentages of INTJs who became psychiatrists or psychologists over time, but that's what I always wanted to be growing up, and I think the reason why is because I was really good at seeing different perspectives, and this is something I hear other people talk about when talking about INTJs. they're like so impressed or surprised in how we can see from every different point of view without judgment, if that makes sense. And now I know one of my letters is judging, but we'll get to that. We are able to sort of dissociate. We can dissociate ourselves from emotion. We can dissociate from things in our own personal life. We can dissociate from, you know, so say you're going through a divorce and I just went through a divorce. I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck him, blah, blah, blah. He probably cheated on you. He probably did this and did that. You know, I'm not going to base it off of my emotions that I may have gone through in my own personal thing. And even in my divorce, I'm probably not going to be that emotional about it. I'm going to be much more logical about it. If there's a problem, I'm going to like bore them to death with my words. If you've seen any of my videos, I talk a lot. That's addressed in here as well. But I'm able to see the situation for what it is. Even if I think, personally, that guy's an idiot. He cheated on you, or he did this, or he did that, or he left his kids, or he got you fired from your job and left you with nothing, and you know, blah, 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 blah. I'm able to say, yeah, that's fucked up. Why did he do it? Like, this was his thinking. It's sort of how people always say there's two sides to every story. That is definitely an INTJ's thinking. They don't hear something and immediately go, that's the truth, I'm going with that, or that's how I feel about that person. No. We are thinking from every angle that there is. We're thinking of every possibility. We're thinking of every meaning behind everything, and it's exhausting. Which is why we're very good planners. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is going to take me a while to get through. I'm talking about myself, and I'm talking about being an INTJ. I'm talking about like why I talk so much. I apologize. With introverted intuition dominating their personality, INTJs focus their energy on observing the world and generating ideas and possibilities. This is very true. We're very like observant people. You may find us quiet at parties, or you know, quiet in conversation, but don't think we're not listening or that we're bored with you. Like, we're taking everything in. Their mind constantly gathers information and makes associations about it. They are tremendously insightful and are usually very quick to understand new ideas. Yes. And I'm not saying that like in a cocky way at all. Like, yes, I can learn anything really fast. Definitely there's things that take me longer than they should, or that they take other people. But I think because we're so observant, especially when it comes to learning something that everybody's learning, or you're learning something you saw someone just do, you paid attention to what they were doing. So we tend to pick it up like that. However, their primary interest is not understanding a concept, but rather applying the concept in a useful way. Exactly. I don't fucking care about how, like, okay, my husband likes to brag, and thank you, but my husband likes to brag that I'm good with electronics. I'm good at putting stuff back together or fixing things, or whatever you need done with an electronic, I can do. But it's not because I'm some IT wizard. It's not because I know, you know, how to do all these different skills. It's because I learned it solely to apply it. And if I don't apply it again soon, that information's going right out of my head, because I need some other information to apply. For instance, I fixed our PlayStation one time. I had to resolder or something. See, I don't even remember what it was called. I had to like do some resoldering on the motherboard or something to fix whatever the red light of death is for the PlayStation. And I watched some YouTube videos. I gathered up as much information as I could. I went into it thinking, you know what, it's fucking broke anyway, so I can't break it any worse. And I fixed it. If you were to ask me to do that again now, I would have to go through all that logic again and make sure that I had every angle covered and know what I was doing and apply it. I don't remember what I did. I don't know how what I did worked, but I know that it worked. I know that I was doing the correct thing because it worked for somebody else. It's like scientific theory. And it's like an experiment for me. So I decided to experiment. I figured I could do this. He did it. I saw how he did it. I know how to do that. I know how to repeat what this guy's doing. And that's sort of our thinking. Unlike the INTP, they do not follow an idea as far as they possibly can, seeking only to understand it fully. True. INTJs are driven to come to conclusions about ideas. Their need for closure and organization usually requires they take some action. Exactly. INTJs' tremendous value and need for systems and organizations, combined with their natural insightfulness, makes them excellent scientists. Okay, this is so important to me when it comes to explaining myself to people, because I feel like a lot of people that I know today, people that I'm friends with, but maybe we're not that close, maybe we haven't clicked that well, and I know it's because of me, and I feel like this is why. So if you're watching this and you wonder why I am the way that I am, please listen to this part, it's for you. It is not easy for the INTJ to express their internal images, insights, and abstractions. The internal form of the INTJ's thoughts and concepts is highly individualized and is not readily translatable into a form that others will understand. So I don't know what that means in terms of other people. I read somewhere that it said that our thoughts are not linear like most people's, and that makes perfect sense to me because my thoughts are not linear. But when I'm trying to explain what I'm thinking, what's in my head, it's not just ready with words. Like, it's so, I guess it's sort of like that meme where the dude from The Hangover is like thinking of when he's wanting to cheat at the cards table, playing blackjack or something, and he's got all those equations going around in his head. That's what it's like being an INTJ. You've constantly got every different scenario going in your head. When you have plans and you're going out, you're thinking like to yourself, okay, we have to go here and then we have to go there. And while I'm here, I have to get this. And while I'm there, I have to get, but also at the same time, we have to go over here and then blah, 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 blah. Like, it's crazy the way our brains work, I guess. I remember telling my husband, I used to be really good at doing this. I can do it a little bit still, but I have a bad habit of everything I need to do or everything I need to remember always happens when I'm in the shower. And so and even when I'm in the shower just getting out, there's things that everybody does when they get out of the shower, like dry off, clean your ears out, whatever. I'll be saying them in my head in order because I like having the system and I like knowing what's coming next. But then I'll start remember things that I need to do. And I can hold a list in my head that I can play on repeat of about, I don't know, like 8 things. So I'm going like moisturizer, deodorant, teeth, like brush your teeth, moisturizer, deodorant, teeth, medicine, pick out clothes, you know, whatever, 3 more things. I can repeat those 8 things. And then I remember, shit, there's something else, but I can only hold 8 words in my head right now. I can only repeat these 8 words without thinking about them. So over on this side, I'm putting in like a picture in my head. So as I'm thinking of this word, I might see a picture over here of something totally different, like an apple. And that's to remind me that I need to pack some apples for my lunch tomorrow, or, you know, something like that. So that's the only way I can think that most people probably don't think quite like that. So if I'm like having to quickly translate that into words, if I have to like get out of the shower and write it all down, it might take me a minute to like go out of the thinking of pictures or a list that I'm repeating. Like, I have to make sense of the list again in my head because sometimes it loses meaning. It's just repeating words that I'm not even thinking about. My God, this is gonna be the longest fucking video. However, the INTJ is driven to translate their ideas into a plan or system that is usually readily explainable, rather than do a direct translation of their thoughts. Very true, which is why I love working out of spreadsheets and stuff, because then if I have to explain it to anybody, it's there. They usually don't see the value of a direct transaction and will have difficulty expressing their ideas, which are non-linear. That's what I was talking about. So it's sort of like, if I don't think you're going to get it, I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain it to you. And I know that sounds bitchy. It probably is. But I know that I'm long-winded. I know that I'm going to sound like a crazy person if I'm trying to explain it. So I would rather just not sometimes. That's just how we are. However, their extreme respect of knowledge and intelligence will motivate them to explain themselves to another person who they feel is deserving of the effort. So if I think you're going to understand what I'm saying, or if I think you had a few drinks and you're going to listen to me anyways, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking, and it's going to take a while, and then you're going to fall asleep, but that's okay. No, but seriously, I've had many conversations after a few drinks with people, and they're way more patient, and they're way more like, oh my God, I never knew this about you, or I never would have thought. And I'm like, yeah, because you never, and it's not that person's fault, but it's like, yeah, you never would have sat down and listened to me for 20 minutes explain nothing. Like, who's gonna do that? Nobody. But that's why we come off as, apparently we come off as really stuck up bitches a lot of times, and really standoffish, and we're not. We are like, we're ready to take care of people, we're ready to handle situations, we're ready to handle any issues that people have. Like, we're problem solvers. So like, if you got a problem and you have an INTJ near, you can trust them with your problem. They may come off as a little like suck it up, but they're gonna fix your problem. They're gonna help you through your problem. I promise you, we're not trying to be assholes. We're trying to teach you the benefit of sometimes emotions are like making situations worse for you. This is how you could fix it logically, and you're gonna feel better afterwards if you do it. If you put this into it, this is what you're gonna get back. Like, don't be afraid to just say it like it is or do what you gotta do. So I understand why it seems like we're so either standoffish, snobby-ish seeming, or to people who come to us for advice, sometimes we can seem like we're like a little cold, but we don't mean it that way. We see where your mistakes are basically, and we have a tendency to think we're the only ones right, and we can learn a lot of things from you too. The problem you come to us with will most likely be solved. Now, it won't be as candy coated as you would have wanted it to, and you may burn some bridges, but that's something that we're willing to do. So we don't, like, it's hard for us to remember that other people aren't just willing to be like, fuck it, this is what I think, you're being an asshole, you know what I mean, like, to the person you're having an issue with. So INTJs are natural leaders, although they usually choose to remain in the background until they see a real need to take over the lead. That's very true. When they are in leadership roles, they're quite effective because they are able to objectively see the reality of a situation and are adaptable enough to change things which aren't working well. They are the supreme strategists, always scanning available ideas and concepts and weighing them against their current strategy to plan for every conceivable contingency. This is very true. INTJs spend a lot of time inside their own minds. This is so true. And may have little interest in other people's thoughts or feelings. Unfortunately, this is true. Now, I do have an interest in other people's thoughts and feelings, but it's not a primary focus of mine. It's not like, you know, I'm sitting around thinking, what's that person over there thinking? What does this person think about this movie we're watching or whatever? Like, that's not a lot of people, especially extroverted people, want to converse with other people. They want to bounce ideas off of other people. That's not my primary focus, so that's not the first thing that comes out of my mind or out of my mouth when having a conversation with people. I've learned to develop that. I've learned that it's important to hear other people's point of view and be like, what did you think about this? Or, you know, if you have something to say about something that I'm planning or something that I feel strongly about, like, just tell me. Like, you can tell me. But that's always something that I've had to work on. And it's not that I think my thoughts are more important than anyone else's, or nobody's gonna give me anything worth hearing. That's not it at all. It's just I'm so deep into my own head sometimes. It's like I forget other people are even next to me. Like, I'm just so deep in my own thoughts, regardless of what those thoughts are. Who knows sometimes? But I live in my head. I live inside my head most of the time. And I have to, like, remember that there's people outside. Unless their feeling side is developed, they may have problems giving other people the level of intimacy that is needed. That's very true. Unless their sensing side is developed, they may have a tendency to ignore details which are necessary for implementing their ideas. I could see that as well. The INTJ's interest in dealing with the world is to make decisions, express judgments, and put everything that they encounter into an understandable and rational system. Very true. Consequently, they are quick to express judgments. Often they have very evolved intuitions and are convinced that they are right about things. Unless they complement their intuitive understanding with a well-developed ability to express their insights, they may find themselves frequently misunderstood. I think that's very true. In these cases, INTJs tend to blame misunderstandings on the limitations of the other party rather than on their own difficulty expressing themselves. That's something I've had to learn. I'm like, I am saying this in black and white. I am over-describing this to you. How do you not get it? But that's the problem half the time. I'm over-describing things. I'm not saying it like a normal person would say something or would explain something. So it's on me, but I get frustrated with the other person because I'm like, how are you not getting this? But people don't think like me, and I don't think like them, so. This tendency may cause the INTJ to dismiss others' input too quickly and to become generally arrogant and elitist. Yes, if it weren't for my husband, I think that would have already happened. He keeps me grounded. Bless him, I love him. He lets me know when I'm not making any sense or when I'm frustrating him, and we're very opposite types too, like very opposite. INTJs are ambitious, self-confident, deliberate, long-range thinkers. Very true. We have a dislike of messiness and inefficiency. and anything that is muddled or unclear. That's very true. Other people may have a difficult time understanding an INTJ. They may see them as aloof and reserved. Indeed, the INTJ is not overly demonstrative of their affections, not at all, and is likely not to give as much praise or positive support as others may need or desire. That's very true, because we don't need it, so we don't think about it. And I know that's a very selfish way of thinking. It's not on purpose. It's not that we think, oh, I'm so great, I don't need your approval. No, we just we don't think about it. We do stuff for ourselves, not to impress other people, I guess. So when other people want to impress you or want you to be proud of them, it's not easy for us to remember that. That does not mean that he or she doesn't truly have affection or regard for others. They simply do not typically feel the need to express it. Very true. Others may falsely perceive the INTJ as being rigid and set in their ways. Nothing could be further from the truth, because the INTJ is committed to always finding the objective best strategy and implement their ideas. Again, plan B, plan C, plan D. The INTJ is usually quite open to hearing an alternative way of doing something, because it may be better than the way we're doing it. We're not thinking that we're the best and we're the smartest and the way we do it is right. It's my way or the highway. That's not it. It's that this is the best way that has worked before, from experience. So if you can show me a better way, that's going to be the way I do it from now on. When under a great deal of stress, the INTJ become obsessed with mindless, repetitive, sensate activities, such as over-drinking. They may also tend to become absorbed with minutiae and details that they would not normally consider important to the overall goal. We become obsessive. Now, I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and I would put money on it that most other INTJs have obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah, when you're stressed, it's like you have a compulsory that you might obsess over. Maybe you have a tic, or maybe you have something like you have to clean a room over and over again, or I hate to sound like stereotypical. That's not one of my OCDs, but yeah, you tend to obsess over things that are not like important at all, and it drives you nuts. And it's kind of like, for me, I think it's a way of getting back inside of my head. So if I'm out somewhere and I'm getting really stressed by a situation, I might be like at a party or something, and I might get really stressed. And so my way of dealing with that may be, okay, well, let me just go like clean up for them, or, you know, like start putting stuff away. And then if someone walks in, I'll try and be like friendly. But I'm like trying to do something that sort of puts me back into my own head so I can recharge for a minute, so I can like hit the refresh button and chill the fuck out. INTJs need to remember to express themselves sufficiently so as to avoid difficulties with people misunderstanding. True. In the absence of properly developing their communication abilities, they may become abrupt and short with people and isolationists. Very true. And then there's a whole paragraph about how great we are. You can read that yourself. So now into my strengths and weaknesses and me in relationships. My strengths are that I'm not threatened by conflict or criticism. That could not be more true. Now, I did grow up doing like cheerleading, dance, theater, stuff like that. And while yes, you can do those things and still be really nervous about getting criticism, if people can come and just give me constructive criticism, I love it. Like, I do get irritated when people don't know how to deliver criticism. They might make things personal, and things aren't like, INTJs are so impersonal. Like, you can tell me what the problem is without it being personal, and I'll be like, cool, I'll fix it, you know, whatever. Something work related, something like when I was in dance or theater or something like that, like, you know, you do this great, but maybe you should tweak this, or can you redo that scene this way? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll redo it that way. Like, sure, because it might be a better way. Yeah, we're not afraid of that. If something needs to be addressed, or someone needs an ass whooping and you have an INTJ near, grab them, because they'll just take care of it. Like, we don't fucking care. Like, what are you gonna do? Hit me? Okay, hit me. Like, I don't care. Unless I'm worried that you're gonna kill me or harm someone that I love, then I'm not gonna mess with you. But other than that, like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't scare me. I don't get nervous about it. Who gives a shit? Like, people fight. Yeah, I can tend to get nervous if I have to fight with someone close to me, or if I have an issue with someone close to me. But it's more so because I know they're gonna take it in a personal way, and for me, most of the time, it's not a personal thing. It's like, I think of it as like, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that you're doing this action because you think you're helping, or that sounds bitchy, but you know what I mean, like because you're trying to help and blah blah blah, but it's actually causing more of a trouble. Like, you can let me handle this, or could you do it this way? Like, if people would take it the way other INTJs will, oh, that would like save me so much trouble and hurting other people's feelings, because that's hard. Like, having to express to someone when you have a problem with something that they're doing, and to you it's not personal, but you know they're going to take it personally, and you know it's going to be dramatic, and you know it's going to be like either a fight, or you hurt their feelings and they don't talk to you for a while, or something like that. That's frustrating. But as far as someone having a problem with me, like, I don't give a shit. Like, fucking tell me. I can either fix it for you, or I can't, and we can just like see you later, be acquaintances. I don't care. Usually self-confident, take their relationships and commitments seriously. That's very true. We don't waste time on things that we don't take seriously, I feel. Generally extremely intelligent and capable. Well, thank you. Able to leave a relationship which should be ended, although they may dwell on it in their minds for a while afterwards. That's true. Interested in optimizing their relationship, so making it like the best that you can. And they're good listeners, which I think is very true. I can listen to people, and again, I can disassociate myself from the situation and give them an honest feedback of what the other person may be thinking, or I can just listen and say, you know what, you're doing great. Your intent, like, I can see your intention behind it. And people may come to me and say, I really fucked up, I really made this person upset, and I can say to them, you know, you did, but I know that your intention wasn't to do that. Your intention was this, and maybe down the road, maybe this is a way you could express that, or maybe, you know, I try and problem solve. Our weaknesses are that we are not naturally in tune with others' feelings, and we may be insensitive at sometimes. Yes. We may tend to respond to conflict with logic and reason rather than desired emotional support. I feel like this is like, my husband used to hate this about me, I think. Like, he could be so upset about something and so bothered by something, and I'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, and to me, that's like any husband's dream, that your wife is just like, sure, whatever. But he would think that I wasn't taking it seriously because I wasn't, you know, like saying, oh, I had no idea, or oh my God, I didn't mean to make you feel that way, or, you know, like matching their emotion. It was just so like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, that's how it came off, because to me it was like, okay, you told me, problem solved, I'll work on it. But that's, we don't realize that that's how it comes off. It can come off like we just don't care. We're not naturally good at expressing our feelings and affections. Yes. We have a tendency to believe that we're always right. Yes. We have a tendency to be unwilling or unable to accept blame. Yes, because we think that we've thought of the best way to do everything. So why would it be our fault that something went wrong? And we tend to hold back a part of ourselves, and that's very true. I've always kind of considered myself an open book, because I don't have a problem talking about my life, no matter what it is, bad parts of my life, good parts of my life, like whatever. If someone's interested, I'll tell them whatever they want to hear. Yeah, there's always something kind of being held back. I think that's safe to say. Some people may have a difficult time accepting what they see as a superior attitude or snobbery. Not to imply that INTJs are snobbish, just that some people with strong feeling preferences may perceive them that way, and some individuals simply have no interest in the theoretical pursuits which the INTJ enjoys. So basically we're boring. But yeah, that's what I've heard a lot. People who I knew like in high school, and then I ran into them later in life, were like, you know, and then I got to know them better, were like, God, I never would have guessed that you were like this, or I always thought you were such a bitch. And I'm like, well, did you ever talk to me? Like, I didn't realize I was that standoffish in high school and stuff. So now it makes sense. But yeah, so that is what it is like, I guess, being an INTJ. If you have any questions about this, I'm happy to answer them or do like a follow-up video. But please take the test if you have time. It's very interesting. It knows more about you than you know. The results know more about you than you know about yourself sometimes. And it was able to put into words things I was never able to put into words about myself, which was amazing for me. So if you take the test, please put your personality type below, because I love reading about them. I love reading all the different types. Please comment below if you have any suggestions or requests on anything you'd like me to talk about, do, record, whatever. Comment below if you didn't like this video, or if you don't like me, leave me a hate comment. I love reading them. And subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys next week.